Right. Good afternoon. Today we will not continue that unit number 3, Internet and Email. I will utilize this time for PASCAL programming. Right. Remember, I have taken maybe 2 classes, not classes actually. I have conducted them as video tutorials and also covered a very small part in PASCAL programming. Right. So better I can continue the PASCAL programming as online class because we have to study many things in PASCAL programming too. So that's why I have decided to continue that as online class, right? So today we will write some of the basic programs because for improving your programming skill, you need to write some basic programs. You need to solve some of the basic day-to-day life problems. So it is very important to write some simple programs, right? So let's write some basic programs today. Right, so I hope that you all can see the screen. Right, so I just opened the PASCAL program or PASCAL code window. Code window means the place where you write the program, where you write the instruction, right? So this is the graphical user interface of PASCAL, right? So we have tried one program as video tutorial, and there we used variables, right? Hope you remember that particular program. So we discussed about how to add any 2 numbers, right? So there we got 2 numbers and then we added the 2 numbers and saved in another variable, and finally we have shown the output, right? So if you have any problem, you can watch this this particular program and then everything will be clear, right? Okay, so this time I will take another simple program which is finding the area of a rectangle, right? So we have to find the area of a rectangle. So you know, the first line is always optional. I explained in the video tutorial. If you want, you can keep that, but otherwise even you can ignore that, because that line is only for that line acts as a heading for your program. So that is optional, but I want to type that, right? So what is it? It is program, right? I can leave a space there, program, then space, give a meaningful name for your program, right? Any name can be given, but give a meaningful name. It is always preferable. So since my my program is about finding the area of a rectangle, I can type area rectangle or something. Note I put an underscore there. I will explain the reason, or the reason for adding this underscore. I cannot leave a space there, so that's why I put that particular underline. I will explain, right? So area rectangle, since we have 2 words, I put that underscore, right? Then semicolon. But note this line is optional. Even without this line, your program works, right? Okay. Right, then you must mention the variables to be used in the program, right? So look here, to find the area of a rectangle, right? You need the length and the breadth, right? Length and breadth of the particular rectangle, right? You definitely need these 2 things. So definitely these are variables because these can vary from time to time or from users to users. So we need to take these two things as variable, right? So now time to declare the variable. How? It's var space, right? var, that's a command, or we can call it as keyword or reserve word. I will explain about those reserve words later. var space, and now give the name for your first variable. So look here, my first variable is length, so I can put len, right? Again, you have to note that when you give a name for a variable, there are rules to be followed. I will explain today, right? I will list out those rules to be followed when naming a variable. So I know the rules. So when I name the variable, I think about all these rules and put the name, right? So len, this is my first variable, and then colon symbol, right? You have to type a colon, and then you have to write the data type. Look here, I'm writing this program for for finding the area of rectangle, right? But I guess that the length and breadth are whole numbers. Even it can be a real number, right? Decimal number, but for me they are whole numbers. So var len. So now time to write the data type. So what is the data type? It is integer, right? If it is a whole number, you have to write integer, then semicolon. Okay, now we declared the first variable, or in other words, I just told my computer that len is a variable and it will keep which type of data? Integer type of data. Once you set as integer, then you cannot save any real numbers inside of this variable, right? That is very, very important, right? If you want to keep real data, then definitely the data type should be different. I will explain, right? Okay. The first variable has been declared. Similarly, you have to declare your second variable. So length and breadth, right? So I can type another variable. So give a variable. You don't need to write, or you don't need to type the word var again, right? That is not important. You can, even if you type, it is not wrong, but there is no need, right? So give you a variable name. So I can type, right, BREA or something, or BREAD. Okay, better BRE, right? Short BRE, and then colon symbol, and again the data type. So I take this as integer, right? Integer semicolon. So now both of your inputs are declared, right? These are inputs, but I call them as variables because their data, their values can be changed, right, from time to time, right? So think about this problem. So when you take two inputs in the name of length and breadth, right? After that, you have to multiply both of them. Once you multiply both of them, definitely you will get the answer. You will get that particular area. So now that particular value, the particular result must be saved in another variable, right? So these are actually inputs. At the same time, you will get an output, right? So that output should be saved in another variable. So I will declare another variable. So I can name like area, right? This is my third variable, but this variable is not for getting the input or storing the input. This is for storing the output, right? But the previous two are for taking and storing the inputs, right? So area colon. So since your inputs are whole numbers, definitely your output also whole number, right? So this is integer. Integer. So now we got all the numbers, right? We got the numbers. So first variable okay, second variable okay, and third variable also okay, right? So it is begun, right? So now I told my computer that I will have 3 spaces in the main memory, right? Random access memory. The first space is in the name of LEN. The second space is in the name of BRE. The third space is in the name of area. So variables are memory locations. So definitely these 3 will be allocated or will be reserved in the main memory, right? Okay, come to the main part of the program, right? So to show the areas output, definitely you need inputs, right? So to get the input from the user, we must display a text message on the screen. Then only the user respond, right? So like I mentioned earlier in the other class, when you go to ATM, you follow those instructions displayed on the screen. If those instructions are not displayed, as a user or as a human being, you don't know how to carry on the things. So definitely the instructions must be shown, maybe in the name of text messages or maybe pictures, but here I will give or I will display a text message to the user saying that please enter your first number, please enter the length of the rectangle. It's up to you, right? You may write a meaningful message, right? Maybe in a short manner, you can write enter length, right? Or enter breadth, anything, right? So to display anything on the screen, we have 2 commands, write or write ln, both the same, right? You know the significant difference between these 2, but both these words are for displaying something on the screen, right? So I will use write, right? Within a single quote, I have to type the message, right? Means meaningful message. So let me type enter length of rectangle, right? Enter length of rectangle. I close the single quote and close the bracket and semicolon. So what happens now if I run this program? Now definitely, right? It will be enter length of rectangle on the screen. So what happens now, as a user, someone will enter a value for rectangle. So definitely that particular value must be saved in the first variable. Look here, we have a variable for storing length, right? That variable was created in the name of len. So now that particular value must be saved, right? Must be saved in len. So what is how to save that in a variable? It is read, right? The variable name within bracket, variable name len, semicolon, right? So now in these 2 lines, we were able to show a text message on the screen, and also we were able to store a particular data which was given by the user, right? So read len. Okay, so what next? Now we want the breadth, right? We want the breadth, then only we can find the area, right? So we want the breadth. To get the breadth, definitely you need to do the same thing. You need to repeat the same thing that you have done just now, but this time you have to show a different message, right? Enter the breadth of the rectangle, right? So again, we want that write command with single quote, enter breadth of rectangle, right? Close the bracket and semicolon. So now the user will see this message on the screen, enter breadth of rectangle. So as a user, definitely he or she enters the breadth. So now I have to tell my computer to store the value in the second variable. So what is the second variable? Look here, it is BRE, right? So store it. READ, read BRE, semicolon. Now we got both the length and the breadth. And also both of them are saved in the main memory. So what next? You need to do a process, right? Because to get the area of the rectangle, right, you need to multiply both of them. So let's multiply. So where is your length? It is in LEN, right? Your length is in LEN. For multiplication, we use asterisk, right? Asterisk. Where is your breadth? It is in BR, right? Semicolon. Length and breadth are multiplied, right? So result of this particular calculation should be saved, right? Should be saved in the third variable. So see, there is a variable waiting, right? So why did you create that variable? Why did you declare that variable? That is for storing your output, your final answer. So look here, I have got my final answer. This is the final answer, length, asterisk, breadth. So now I want to assign that. Hope you remember that assignment symbol. This is the assignment symbol, right? So colon equal, both together, both they are assignment, right? So now go to the left side of that assignment and put your variable name. So what is it? Area. So now look here, area, this is the location, this is the variable. So here we store the result of this calculation, right? So LEN asterisk BRE. So both will be multiplied and the result will be kept in area, right? So now better to, stop our program, right? There may be some lines to be written, but better I want to stop it, right? So I can put end dot, okay, end dot. So first of all, let's check whether it is working correctly or not. Then we can discuss something, right? So first of all, I have to compile because we already discussed about compiling, right? So we have to convert into binary. So compile. So when it is compiled, it asks to save. Okay, let me save that file, area CAR or something, right? This is my file name. Look here, compile successful, right? There is no issue. I didn't violate any rules, right? It is correct. So let me press the enter key. Okay. So now to get the answer, go to the run. Click on the run, right? And click the run. Now here it asks enter length of the rectangle. Right, keep watching. I will enter length, right? So it is 20. Now, what happens when I press the enter key? I didn't press the enter key yet. So when I press the enter key, this 10 will be saved in the first variable. What is it? LEN, right? Right. So now that is saved in LEN. At the same time, we got the second message. What's the second message? Enter the breadth of the rectangle. So let me type another number for breadth, 8. So what happens when I press the enter key? It will be saved in the second variable because there is a line in our program, read BR. So when I press, it works, right? So now it's saved. But look here, we are unable to see the output. Look here. We got these two lines, but we are unable to see the output. But yes, you got the output. So, but that output is not found on the screen, on the output screen. Why? What's the reason? Where is your output now? 10, 80. You gave 10 for length and 8 for breadth, right? So you got the 80. But where is that 80? Okay. Area, len, asterisk breadth. So for LEN, I gave 10. For BRE, I gave 8. So 10 asterisk 8, which is 80, that 80 is in area. So where is that area? It is in the main memory. So you got the answer, but you are unable to see it on the screen because your answer is kept in the random access memory. Now, what should you do? You have to bring that particular answer to the screen. You have to bring that particular answer which is in random access memory to the monitor. So we want another line. What is it? It is right, because we have to display that. So write what? Where is your output? Where is your answer? In area, right? So area. Close the bracket and semicolon. Right area. So now what happens, or what will happen? Your output, which is in area, will be on the screen, right? So let's. I made a change here. So let's check whether it is correctly compiled or not, right? So yes, compiled successful. Run it. Right. Now I have to take another input because your previous program finished, right? So you need to take 2 more inputs. So let me give the same inputs again, right? Enter length of the rectangle 10. This time 10 is saved in len, right? The variable len has 10 now. So now I got another message, enter breadth of the rectangle. So let me type 8 here. So when I press that enter key, it will be saved, right? It will be saved in BRE. So BRE will have 8. At the same time, your next line will be executed or will be taken place. What is the next line? LEN asterisk BRE. What is LEN? 10. What is BRE? 8. Both are multiplied and the result is kept, right? Remember my program, right? I'm talking about these things based on my program. So LEN asterisk BRE 10 asterisk 8. So what is it? 80. That 80 is kept where? In your variable. What is the variable? Area. You have one more line. What is it? Right area. So definitely 80 is on the screen. Now I'm going to press the enter key. Watch this. Right? So now you got the answer, but you have to go to the output screen and check it. Okay? You got the answer. 80 is there. Right? Have you understood? So look again. First of all, this will be on the screen, enter length of the rectangle. So when you type 10 for that one, the 10 will be saved in LEN because look at the second line, read LEN. Read LEN seems to be storing that particular value in LEN. So in my case, it is 10, right? I type 10. So that 10 is saved in LEN. After that, we will get another message. What is it? Enter the breadth of the rectangle. So when we see such message on the screen, we will enter a number. So assume we will type 8 as a value. So what happens to the 8? See, look at the other line, read BRE. So when you press the enter key after typing 8, your number will be saved in BRE because you have a line READ, BRE, read BRE. After that, what happens? LEN multiplied by multiplication BRE. So what is LEN? LEN has 10. BRE has 8. Note there is an asterisk there, that is multiplication. So 10 asterisk 8, that is 80. That value is kept where? In area. So now that area has got 8. But where is that 80 now? It is in your main memory. But to complete or to make your program as a meaningful, definitely you have to show your output on the screen. So that's why right area. Okay. So but note here, I didn't use the clear screen or use a CRT, everything, but I explained everything clearly on the other day. Even if you want, you can write it. Okay, better I can use it. So here I can use user CRT. I explained the meaning of user CRT, right? So what does it mean? Here I'm telling my computer that we use CRT library in this program because some of the words are found in the CRT library. If you don't mention this line and use the words in library, definitely your computer confuses. So that's why it is important, right? So go to the begin and use the clear screen. clear screen. Clear screen is one of the command found in CRT library. So if you don't have this line, right, line uses CRT, you cannot use clear screen because clear screen is found in CRT library, right? At the same time, if you want to go to your output screen directly, or even if you want to return to your core program directly, better write the command read key, right? Read key. So now compile again. It is successful and run it. Now see, there is no previous output, right? All of them are cleared. It is because of what? Because of clear screen. So type another way, another length 20. So what happens to 20? It is kept in LEN, right? Let me type 10. So what happens to 10 now? It will be in the BRE. At the same time, your answer is found. To go to your program window, just press the enter key, right? So now you are in your code window. Okay, right. So now this program seems to be a meaningful program, but still, right? Still, there may be some defects there, right? So it would be better if I modify this program and make it as meaningful one, right? So I can find one defect there, right? So let me explain. So when we run, okay, look here. When we run, it asks the length, right? So it is 20, right? Okay, press the enter key. Now it asks the breadth, okay. So when we press the enter keys, look here, we got the answer. Answer is right? So your program works correctly. But the problem is, I can't say that it is a problem, but that particular defect is, it is 200. That output is displayed without having any labels. See, it would be better if it is area 200, or area of a circle 200, or even area equal 200. That kind of an output will give some more, idea to the users, ideas to the users. But now when we see 200 only on the screen, sometimes we can't realize that whether it is area or whether it is the circumference, so whatever, right? We are unable, just by looking at the inputs you can find out, but still it is not the meaningful one. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to modify my program in order to have a phrase or label in front of this output, right? So let's go to the output screen, right? So this may be the line to be modified, right? Look here, this is the line to be modified because this is where we got the output, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add the phrase in front of that answer, right? Output. I'm going to add this this phrase, area is, right? Area is, then our value, area is 200, right? We all know that to display a text message on the screen, we have to put that text message within the single quote. I repeat it, to display any text message on the screen, you need to put that in between two single quotes, right? So put the single quote here and type your message to be displayed. So area is, I want area is, close the single quote. Now look carefully, right? This is important, look carefully. So now I have two things inside of the bracket, right? I have two things inside of the bracket. One is here, right? In between two single quote. What is in between two single quote? Area is. And also note there is a space left, right? So area is, and also there is a space. And the other one is area. So what we are going to show is, we are trying to show a text, right, which is area is, and a variable name. So generally, if it is a variable name, the value which is kept in the variable will be displayed. So according to my previous example, I gave 20 for length and 10 for breadth. So I got 200. So if it is area, right, 200 is inside of area, so that will be displayed. But here area that is a text. So whatever within the single quote will be displayed. So now we all can understand that it's going to be area is, and then the value which is kept in the area, because this is not the text message, this is a variable. So if it is a variable, the value which is displayed. But here if it is a text message, it will be displayed as it is. So now area is then your value. But when I compile, right, if I compile, there will be a problem. Look here, I compile it. Now here compile failed because I didn't consider a small rule in this case. That's why your computer has shown an error message, right? You cannot get the output because you made a mistake. So because, look here again, to show a text message and a variable together, right? To show a text message and a variable's value together in a single line, you need to separate these two by a comma. I repeat it. So if you think as an ordinary human being, we all think that it is without comma, because look here, it's very practical, right? So whatever within the single quote will be on the screen. So what is inside of single quotes here? Area is. And also if something in a variable, that will be on the screen. What is in the variable in my first example? It is 200. So here 200, here area is. So as an ordinary person, I can think that it is area is 200. But what I'm trying to say is there are rules in PASCAL program. So that rule says if you want to show a text message along with the variable's value, definitely you need to separate both of them using a comma, right? So now compile it. Now look here, your compile works, right? Successful. So, okay, so let's run it. Enter the length of the rectangle. So this time I type 15, right? Okay, now 15 gone into len. So now I type 12. So when I press the enter key, right, I'm going to press the enter key, see the answer. Now area is 180. So when I press the enter key, 12 is saved in BRE, and then the next line worked. What is the next line? LEN asterisk BRE. LEN 15, BRE 12. So both are multiplied, and the result is 180. 180 is saved in area. What is the last line? Right. Area is in the single quote. So whatever within the single quote should be on the screen. So area is, and then the variable, I gave the variable. So what is inside of the variable? That is 180. So it is found, right? So it's very important. It's very simple, but you have to understand properly, right? Don't memorize anything, right? So yes, you can memorize something, but memorize with a proper understanding. That is always expected when it comes to programming. Okay, right. Right, so now I will modify this program, because to explain or introduce some other things, I want to modify, right? So assume this program is for finding the area of a rectangle, it's okay, but we want the length and breadth in real numbers, right? So assume we want them as real numbers, okay, not whole numbers. So if you want real numbers, so okay, let's run and give the real numbers and check whether it works or not. Okay, so this time I will give 20.5. Right, I gave 20.5. Let me press the enter key. Now see, program exit. You are unable to proceed. Your program exit. What's the reason? So when you type 20.5, look at this line, second line, read len. So now that 20.5 should be saved where? In len. But already, right, on the top, you told the computer that LEN must save only whole number. But the number that you just type is not the whole number. That is a real number. So 20.5 is a real number. So how can your computer save that real number into a variable which is allocated for storing integer? So there is a problem, right? So how to solve this? To solve this problem, you need to tell your computer at the top about real numbers, about storing real numbers. So I'm going to modify something. Listen to me, right? So LEN, so let me delete that. So now my length is a real number. So here it is real. In PASCAL programming, for storing the fractional numbers, real numbers, you have a variable. So you have a data type. This is called data type called REL, real. Similarly, I want the breadth in real as real number. So it is also real. So when both of them are real number, definitely, you know, your answer also real number, right? So it is real number. Okay. So I told my computer that LEN, BRE, area, they are variables. At the same time, they will keep only real data types. Okay. Let's compile and see the thing. Compile successful, right? I can press any key to proceed. So I press one key. Let's run. Enter the length of the rectangle. Let me type 20.5. So now when I press the enter key, now I'm pressing the enter key. Look here. Now it works, right? Now it works for me. So what happens to 20.5? That is kept in the first variable called LEN. Now computer understood why. What's the reason? On the top, we clearly stated that LEN will have real type of data. So it is a real type of data. So it works. So now it asks the breadth. So let me type 10.5 or something. Okay. So when I press the enter key, this will be saved in BRE. Then the next line works. What is the next line? LEN asterisk BRE. So both will be multiplied and the result is saved in area. Finally, the next line works. What is it? Showing area is the variable. So look here, I'm pressing the enter key. Now you got it, right? So area is 2.1525. Look here, plus 002. So for floating numbers or for real numbers, we have this scientific method. So plus 002 means this decimal point will be moved towards right side for 2 decimal places, right? Plus 2 means 2 decimal places will be moved towards right. So now 2.15. So when it is moved, if it is moved first time, it is 21, right? 21.5. But here 2 times. So what is it? It is here, right? 215.25. Don't think that your answer is incorrect. It is correct, right? It is correct, but it is always in this format, right? So you have to understand this format. Plus 002 mean the decimal point will be moved towards right side twice. If it is 001, what does it mean? Only once it moves. So if it is 001, what is your answer? 21.525 something. But here 2, so 215.25. That is the answer. Look here, 2010. So it is correct, right? 215.25. Have you understood? Okay. Now you may have a doubt, right? I know your doubts. That's why I take these doubts and explain, right? So some of you may think that now all of them are real numbers. So when, suppose if you want to give whole numbers as inputs, right? So now we want whole numbers as inputs, as length and breadth. But remember, length and breadth are set for real numbers. So since they are real numbers, what happens if you input the whole number? Will it work, or will it produce any error messages? So let's see. I will run it again. Okay. Now I want 20 again. Look here. I press the enter key. Now what happened? My computer understood this line. Because if it is not understood, definitely I got some error message or something. But this has been understood. How? But this is a confusion thing, because you already declared that LEN is a real data type. But the data that you entered on the screen now is not a real type of data. This is integer type of data. But even though you typed an integer type of data for a real type, it was understood. How? Now you type 20, but computer took it as 20.0, right? Putting a 0, put a point and zeros, 20 and 20.0 are same. The value is not changed, right? So for us it's 20, but since you declared that as real, computer will take it as 20.0. Similarly, if I type 10, it will be taken as 10.0. So what would be the result? Will it be 200? Will it be 200? No, right? It cannot be 200, because here both variables have 20.0 and 10.0. So in the next line, you have to multiply these two, 20.0 asterisk 10.0. So what would it be? It would be 200 plus 0, right? That is in area. So finally, it will be, look at them, 200.0. Look here, 0, 0, 2, which means the decimal point has to be moved towards right side twice. So where it is now, it must be 200 plus 0, right? So it is not 200. Try to understand, right? So you don't need to worry about that particular doubt. If you want, sometimes you don't know your inputs exactly, right? Sometimes you may think that some of the users will give real numbers, some of the users may give integer numbers as inputs. If you don't know the type of the inputs, better set them as real numbers. For when you set real numbers, there is no issue, because when you give whole number, it will be taken as whole number. If you give a real number, it will be taken as real number. But if you set integer here, definitely your inputs must be integer, right? So after setting integer, you cannot input real numbers, but after setting real, you can input what? Integer or real number. There is no issue. So I hope that you got that clarification, right? I clearly explained those issues or confusions. Try to understand, right? Okay. So let's take another program in this manner. Now we are writing the programs in sequence type. You heard that word in flowcharts and pseudocode, right? Sequence structure is related to solving the problems in steps. So here, a specific problem is solved in steps, right? Okay. Now let's take another simple program. Okay, I'm going to close it and take another one. Right. So this time we will try another one. So let me take another simple one. Okay. So we already tried in flowcharts and pseudocode, doesn't matter, but better try it. That temperature conversion, right? Getting a temperature in Fahrenheit and shows the output in Celsius format, right? So Fahrenheit Celsius conversion. So first of all, program, give a program name, right? Temp conversion or something, right? Any meaningful name, okay? Semicolon. But this line is always optional, right? Okay. Now we have to declare the variable. If you want, you may add the user CRT. Okay, now you understood, right? So user CRT, I straight away add it. Okay. Now variable has to be declared. So what is the problem? Getting a temperature in Fahrenheit value and showing the equivalent value in Celsius format. So what about variables? Identifying the variable is also important, right? You must have the ability to identify the variable, because in some questions, variables can easily be identified. But in some problems, it may be difficult to identify the variables. So that's why I told you to have such ability to identify the variables, right? So what are the variables here? Definitely your input is a variable, right? Your input is something which can vary from time to time. So that must be input. So what is the input here? Fahrenheit, right? That is one variable. At the same time, right, so once you get the Fahrenheit, then you need to do some calculations. As the result of the calculation, you will get the value in Celsius. That is also one of the variables, because whenever your Fahrenheit changes, the Celsius also changes. So both will be what? Variables. So better declare them first, right? So it is VAR. I take that as FH, right? I gave the name for Fahrenheit, FH. This is variable name, right? Then colon symbol, right? So I guess that my Fahrenheit would be integer. Yes, if you want to have a real number, then you can put it, right? But I want to get my Fahrenheit as integer, so put it as integer, right? Semicolon. I just mentioned that, right? I mentioned that the next variable would be Celsius, right? It is, I give a name for my variable, so I bet I get it as CEL. Even you may put FC, right? It's not a matter. CEL colon, right? So what about the data type for cell? I hope that you remember the Fahrenheit Celsius conversion formula. So what is the formula used for converting a Fahrenheit value into Celsius? What is it? F minus 32 multiplication 5 divided by 9, right? So look here, this is the formula. Okay, F minus 32, you have to subtract 32 from Fahrenheit, then multiplied by 5 divided by 9. Result of this calculation would be Celsius. So now think about this. Even though you get your Fahrenheit in integer format, but when you apply your Fahrenheit, assume that you got 100 as Fahrenheit. But when you apply this 100 here, right, 100 here, definitely your answer will be as a real number, because look here, you multiply by 5, it's okay, but you divide by 9. So it is always possible to become as real number. So don't try the data type as integer. If it is integer, mostly it's wrong. Okay, I put the integer first, then we can see the error message, and finally we can correct that, right? It is integer. Variables are declared, right? So it is bigger. If you want, you can add the clear screen. Remember, these clear screens, a user CRT, read key, these are not important, right? So we add those lines in order to make our program to comfort the users, right? Otherwise, they are not compulsory. Okay, so I put the clear screen. Right. What do you want first? You want the Fahrenheit, right? So display message, right? Single quote, enter the temperature, right, in Fahrenheit. Okay, semicolon. Now, if I run this program now, it would be on the screen, enter the temperature in Fahrenheit. So as a user, how to I mean react, how to respond. Definitely you will type a value. It may be anything, right? It may be minus or plus or whatever, right? So when you type that value, I have to save that in the specific variable. So what is the variable to store that Fahrenheit? Look there, FAH is waiting, right? So I have to store in FAH. So what is the line? Read FAH. Have you understood, right? Now I got the Fahrenheit. Do you want any other inputs from the users? Should user input any other things? No, right? This is more than enough to get your answer, right? So I got that Fahrenheit. So now I need to apply this Fahrenheit into the particular formula, right? In the particular formula, because I got that Fahrenheit, I have to use this Fahrenheit in this formula. So I will show you the formula again. We have to subtract 32 from Fahrenheit, then multiplied by 5 divided by 9, right? Okay, so let's see. So where is your Fahrenheit value? Is it F? No, it is in FAH. So you have to, I put the bracket there, FAH, that is Fahrenheit, minus 32. Okay, FAH minus 32, multiplication 5, division 9, semicolon. Both are exactly same. Here F minus 32, because here I take F for Fahrenheit. But in my example, in my program, Fahrenheit value is saved in FH. I didn't give F there, right? FH. So FH minus 32, asterisk 5, division 9. As a result of this calculation, you will get an answer, right? So that answer must be saved. So I have to put a semicolon. Sorry, I have to put an assignment symbol. See, I am explaining the things in a reverse manner from this right side to left side, only for making you to understand, right? Because if I put the variable name location first and then calculation, sometimes it may be difficult. So that's why I put the calculation first and then I save this in the variable. So where should I save this? In the Celsius, see here. Okay, so what happens? This will be calculated first. The result of this will be kept where? In CEL, right? Go to the next line. And okay, read key. Okay, sorry. Before that, we have to display your answer, right? You got the answer, but where's your answer in CEL, right? So time to display that answer. So how to display? It is right. Right? So I want to display that value. So it is set. I didn't use single quote because I want to show the value which is inside of a variable. So give the variable name, semicolon. Okay. Everything is fine. So it's read key. It is for our comfortness, right? Read key. Finally end. Right. So let's compile and see the things. See, now I will give a name for my my file, right? Right. Look here, compile failed. Right. What is the reason? It is the reason for this one, right? CEL integer. So I told you that it would be real type of data, because even though you give integer, sorry, Fahrenheit as integer, definitely as a result of this calculation, right? As a result of this calculation, your answer would be real number. But in the program, you mentioned that the Celsius would be integer. So that may be the issue. It cannot be integer, it is real, right? So I put the REM. So now compile it again. Now here, look here, compile works. Have you understood the problem? Even though we got the whole number for Fahrenheit, when we apply that whole number in this formula, the answer, which means the Celsius, becomes real number. So how can you set the Celsius as integer on the top? That's wrong, right? That's why it is real. So compile work runs the program. it asks the temperature. Let me give 95, right? So 95, when I press, 95 is equal to 35, right? The Celsius value is 35. This is 35. Look here, 3.5 and plus 001. So how many times the decimal point moved towards right side? Only once. So now it's 3.5. When it is moved to the right side, it became 35.0. So now your answer would be 35.0, not 35, because our answer has been set for what? Real number, right? Since your answer is real number, you got it. Have you understood? Right? So as a student, doesn't matter whether they are important for exams or not, right? As a student, try understanding each and every line clearly. You don't have any doubts in any lines, right? At the same time, don't memorize, right? Try understanding the reason for having each and every line in the Pascal program. Okay, so today we did two simple programs, but even though we did two simple programs, we understood some of the basic ideas. We clearly got some programming concepts and programming ideas, right? So if you have computer, you may practice and confirm your doubts, right? Others, try watching, or even you can write on an exercise book and understanding the stuff, right? So that's it for today. We will meet in another time, right? Thank you.